I usually, I'm going to move this up here so I can look more or less camera direction. Um, this is the time that I usually record a podcast with John, Manny, and Satya. But yeah, for whatever reason, we're not doing it today. So I thought I'd just jump in and put up a live stream here. I've talked to a lot of people. I really wasn't going to chime in on a lot of stuff, but I've really felt like I ought to. So this isn't necessarily what I want to do, but this is kind of where I feel like it's something that I need to do. So a lot of people have been coming to me and talking to me about, devchat.tv. And to be perfectly honest, and I'll kind of update things in a minute. They've been pressuring me to cut ties with John Sonmez. And what's interesting is, and let me give a little bit of background. I've been doing this for a really long time. I've been podcasting for about 11 years. Ruby Rogue started about 8.5 years ago. So you can kind of see that, I've been talking to programmers for a really, really, really long time. And we've had conversations about a lot of the things that came up in the Twitter mess. But a couple of things happened a few years ago that have really made me rethink the way that I do things when it comes down to how I interact with people and what things I talk about and how I talk about them. And it's funny, too, because I don't remember the exact circumstances, but I do remember being in instances where topics came up and to go along with the crowd, I more or less agreed to things that I didn't actually believe. And this was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And, I went along and, no repercussions, right? Because it was the popular opinion. And it was more or less the way that, things went. And like I said, I don't remember the exact circumstances, which show, which guest, which topic, I don't. But it never sat right with me. It just did not. I really didn't feel good about it. And, I thought a lot about it and I prayed a lot about it. And I really came to the point where I realized that I cannot and will not, no matter what the consequences are, say something that I don't believe. And I'm not going to act in a way that isn't in congruence with what I believe, that doesn't line up. And so when people came to me and basically told me how I needed to react to the situation that I was in, I had to sit down and I had to take a good look at myself and figure out what I thought and what I believed and where I was at, and then act accordingly. Now, if I had come down where it was like, I don't care either way, then I probably would have just, gone with whatever I thought was most advantageous to me. But I won't act different from my moral code. So, things came down in this whole situation with Amy. And again, I felt like the right thing for me to do was to stand up for her. And so I did. I didn't even think about the consequences because I knew that was what I felt like was the right thing. And, again, the same thing with, with John, right, is that I didn't like what he did, but the fatal character flaw that I guess he demonstrated was that he gets angry, right? And honestly, you go watch his video and he says that he was trying to draw fire for Amy. But the claim that people are coming to me with is that he was being racist or misogynist, and so I should cut ties with him. And I'm not going to try and defend what he did, but I went and looked at the tweets because, yeah, I don't need that kind of influence in my life, right? But, while he was really mean, there was nothing in there that betrayed, at least in my mind, a character bias against people specific races or genders. And so I had a hard time saying, okay, well, I'm going to cut ties with somebody who got mad, right? I've had other people that have come out and said different things about, the way that I've handled things. And you know what? It's frustrating, but I don't hate them either, right? I'm kind of hoping that we can all still be friends, but if we can't, we can't, and that's their decision. But yeah, I came to this decision a long time ago, a few years ago, that I cannot compromise on my integrity and what I believe. And so when everything comes down to the, making the decision, down to that decision point, I have to have that look, and I have to make that decision. Now, as far as the rest of things go, what does this actually mean, right? So practically, if somebody comes to me and convinces me that I'm wrong, right, am I going to change my tune? And the answer to that is yes, because if my actions aren't in alignment with what I believe, then I can't feel good about what I'm doing. And so, if somebody came to me and they sat down and they explained to me, look, this is why the situation is different from what you understand, and I buy in, then yeah, I'm going to make a different decision. I'll go back on decisions that I've made, unless I've given my word to somebody. But, because that's another thing that I just won't betray either. But that said, I mean, that's where I come down. And so, I've gotten a lot of pressure from a lot of people, but nobody's made the argument that, makes me reconsider what I believe. And so because of that, I'm not going to make a decision that isn't in congruence with that. And the kind of the core beliefs here are that, and even still, if somebody did convince me that, somebody was being racist or whatever, I'd still want to talk to them, right? And sit down and understand them and understand where they're coming from. Because I feel like it's important to make those kinds of steps, right? Can I help them? Can I influence them for the better? Can I have that kind of, that positive impact? I don't feel like anybody's beyond redemption. I also don't feel like people shouldn't pay for what they've done necessarily, but I want to understand, and then maybe that's a problem for me, but ultimately that's where I come down. So, and that's why, I got attacked and I still wanted to talk to the people coming at me, is because I want to understand. I want to understand the mindset. I want to understand the reasons. I want to understand, why we're doing what we're doing, and, if there is a possible resolution where we can all still see each other as people at the end of the day. I don't necessarily expect that the conversations are going to end with everybody coming out, arm in arm, agreeing 100% on everything. But if we can understand it, then we're better off. And so, what this ultimately boils down to for me is integrity. And I've kind of toyed back and forth with, because I'm relaunching a show called The DevRev, and I thought about doing an episode on integrity, but the problem is that puts another constraint on this video that I don't necessarily want to have, because I just want to talk, publicly about this. So, so I didn't, and it's not going to, there will be an episode on integrity, I'm sure, on the DevRev at some point. But the focus there is also on, I want to get really practical with people and just say, look, here's what you do in order to make your career or your life or whatever better. So, yeah. I also find it interesting, too, that the fatal flaw that people, I guess, find in my character is that I'm being loyal to somebody that they don't feel deserves it. Right? So it wasn't that I said something racist. It wasn't that I said something misogynist. It was that I said to be nice. And then, I stuck by, and without justifying anything that he did, I stuck by somebody that did something that they didn't like. So anyway, I don't know that this is really going to change anybody's minds, and I'm really not intending it to. I mean, ultimately, what it comes down to for me is understand where I'm coming from, and then if you still have a problem with it, then that's fine too. I mean, everybody comes at this from a different place, and so I don't expect everybody to agree with everybody, but it would be nice if we could at least understand each other. I'm also going to say that, if you have to, I mean, no hard feelings, right, with the people who are unsubscribing from shows. I've had some hosts on some of the shows back out for various reasons. Some of them are angry with me, and some of them are afraid that they're going to have repercussions. That's fine. I mean, everybody has to make the decision that's right for them and the decision that they can live with, and that's what I'm doing too. And so, no hard feelings to those folks. Again, I hope we can all still be friends at the end of the day. I understand if you feel like we can't. But, yeah. So that said, I mean, we're just moving forward. And that's the real focus, is just moving forward and, being the best that we can be. And, I feel a little bit bad, I guess, for some of the people who are leaving, because I've really kind of been refocusing over the last few months on making sure that our content is the stuff that they need to do better. And so, yes, as people, but also as programmers. So I feel bad that I'm not going to be able to reach them and, make a difference for them. But that's their decision. That's not my decision. And I'll do everything I can to make it not unmissable content. And then if they still decide to miss it, then, I've done everything I can. But, yeah, so we're going to move forward. We've really focused on where we want to go and where we want to be. And, so if you feel like this is something that you want to be a part of, we are looking for hosts, because we did have some hosts leave. I sent an email to the mailing list as well. And so, yeah, we're looking for hosts for some of the shows. If you want to know which shows, just email me. I don't really want to call them out here. If you want to support the shows, another way you can do it I've posted to Twitter some links where you can go buy shirts and stuff like that with the podcast logos on them. So if you want those, you can get them. If you don't see the show you want on there, let me know, and I will see about getting a shirt up for that. Some of the newer shows don't have swag up. So you can also just slip some money into my pocket. And by I mean the business's pocket, because that's ultimately, it's all going to go to paying people. If you go to on Venmo, I'm Woody Two Shoes, at Woody Two Shoes. On PayPal, it's Chuck at DevChat, or not, no. I think that works too. I think Chuck at DevChat.tv works. But you can also Chuck at teachmetocode.com. Yeah, that'll go in, and that'll help us, pay to continue to support the shows, because I don't know in the short term where everything is going to fall out, and that just gives us a little bit more stability to continue to pay for the production of the shows and things like that. And yeah, we're knocking that out of the park. I also have a book coming out on the 19th of November, and you'll be able to get that on Amazon. If you join the mailing list, you'll get an email. You're going to start getting emails from me, and we'll dive into that stuff. And then yeah, we'll see where we end up with all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm hoping to get a good launch for that, and help some people find the jobs that they want. And I think I decided with my publishing team that the first day the book will be for free, so you can just go on Amazon and find it, and yeah, you'll be able to pick it up for free that first day. The ebook copy, obviously, if you're getting like a physical copy, you're going to have to pay for that. And the physical copy will launch the next day, and I'm working on the audiobook. So, yeah, if you're looking for any of that, we're also going to have a course out related to the book. And so if you need a little bit more of a walkthrough on your career, you can go through that. But yeah, that's kind of where we're looking. And then I'm also looking at pulling together some online conferences like I've done in the past. So anyway, the best place to find all that stuff is devchat.tv. I think I also stated at one point that I may or may not be doing some of the travel. It looks like I'm not going to go to React Days Berlin, but I am going to be going to KubeCon. I found somebody to help cover the travel costs there. I was initially going to back out just to maintain a little bit more cash flow, so that I didn't have to worry about any instability from any of this. But yeah, it looks like my airfare and hotel are covered. So and I have to eat anyway. It costs a little more to eat on the road, but not a ton. So anyway, we'll make that all work. And yeah. I guess the last thing that I just wanted to bring up with all this is that I've had a bunch of people come to me and say stuff like, I really appreciate what you do. Or I've had a few people come to me and say, including people who are coming to me and saying, I'm black and I don't think you're a racist, or I'm black and I'm behind you 100%. I've had a bunch of other people too that are not black, come and let me know that they support what we're doing. And I would probably say that, it's about 5 or 6 to 1, the people that are coming to me in support versus not. So what that tells me is that, and I'm not trying to fight anybody, but what it does tell me is that this isn't necessarily as cut and dried as it looks sometimes. And that, people appreciate people who stand up for what they believe. And that's where I feel like I'm at. And like I said, if I change what I believe, I'll probably come on here and say, guys, I was wrong. But, until that happens, I'm going to do what I feel like is in alignment with what I think and what I believe. And you know what? It's probably going to hurt and it's probably going to cost me. But at the end of the day, it's what I've got to do. And so anyway, I've been way more long-winded. I wanted this to be 10 minutes and it's already like 17 minutes. So I'm going to be done. But yeah, for all the people who are out there supporting devchat.tv and what we do, I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, if you want to support the shows, the best way is to either go buy t-shirts, Venmo, PayPal, or I'm also working on maxcoders.io, and we'll probably have that up here within the next month. So yeah, anyway, that's where we're at. So have a good one. Enjoy the holidays. And yeah, we'll be back around, or I'll be back around doing more of this kind of thing every week, because I really intend to get DevRev off the ground and be pushing a lot of that stuff forward. So anyway,